Miss Vega, you ready?
I think the real question is, are you ready?
Start the audition.
Larry, what the fuck is this shit?
Victorious was a show on Nickelodeon in 2010 and went on to become one of the channel's biggest shows of its era, and I think it holds up even now. Granted, you could argue that the success of the actors is what's bringing the stock back into the show. Like, this show has 2 Grammy award-winning artists on it. Like, this nigga here made Breaking Point. Also, y'all ever notice how his head is shaped like a veggie tail? But yeah, with the announcement of the upcoming Trina spinoff that nobody asked for, I just want to take some time to reminisce about the original while also sharing my thoughts on the upcoming spinoff. And I didn't want to do it alone, so I called the homie Childish Juju for some help. Alright, this is gonna be a fun one. Get strapped in.
I'm strapped in!
You know, when Ghost hit me up about collaborating for this video, I was hyped. Victorious is easily a Mount Rushmore show, and with the soon-to-be revival, there is definitely a lot to be talked about. When you think about it, Victorious only lasted 3 years and ran for 4 seasons, yet over that course of time, it still managed to make some of the most memorable episodes of children's television to date. Probably ever, if we're being honest, especially with children's media slowly dying in favor of AI slop and TikTok shorts. But with a cast this good, full of extremely talented people, you'd be hard-pressed to find an episode of the show that's average, let alone one that sucks. Except for Wi-Fi in the Sky, that episode sucks. And also the April Fool's episode, but I guess that one was meant to suck, so it really doesn't count.
Victorious and I have a complicated relationship. Like I said in my How to Rock video, all the weird shit was getting annoying, which caused me to slowly drop the show. I didn't see much of season 4 and the finale until years later, to which, now that I've seen it, I wasn't missing much. They kinda just doubled down on all the bullshit they've been doing, and the finale to one of their biggest shows was just a nothing episode. I know that there were other factors at play to why this was the final episode, but still. Basically, Tori and the gang have to say yes to everything for a full day.
Can I go with you?
Sure. We'll go to the drag race together.
Oh, yeah. Gentlemen, start your Shinjins. Are those Pajelli Hoochos?
But that said, there are still some really dope moments, and I remember it being a fun show for the most part. The Breakfast Bunch might be my favorite episode. Besides being a parody of The Breakfast Club, I just love all the bits and gags throughout it. Robbie calling Tori conceited while crying.
You're so conceited, Tori. You're so conceited.
Jade tormenting Kat about never eating a taco. Also, why the fuck is Robbie teasing himself with his taco? It must be pretty good because after a few bites, it got Andre running around and shit.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. We might whoop your ass if you do that again.
This is also the episode where Tori shares her secret talent.
I ain't gonna lie, bro.
How'd you figure out you can do this? There was a time when I rocked with this show heavy. I would prefer it over iCarly if I'm being honest. Not saying iCarly was a bad show, but there was a time when given the choice, I would often pick Victorious. Some of my favorite episodes were always the ones centered around Andre. Andre Harris is my favorite character in the entire show. I was low-key even dressing like him, but that was before the show. I was a church kid. But since we're reminiscing, in iCarly, Freddie had a book bag he would wear in the earlier seasons. And I don't know why, but I thought it was so cool. It had one strap. It was a one strap book bag. I remember asking my parents for this book bag, which they got for me, and that shit got stolen before the end of the year. Nah, real spill. Your boy was hurt, bro. I was devastated. But back to the show. I've been a fan of Andre all the way back. Wait, no, I'm actually kind of still mad. Why did it have to be my book bag?
Huh? Why, nigga?
What? I went to school with 1,000 other niggas. Why did it have to be my book? I've been a fan of his since iCarly. Wait, nah, since August Rush. Actually, no. If I'm being real, if I'm being really real, I was rocking with him since Backyardigans. I didn't know he was Tyrone at the time. All I knew was that this Moose nigga, he got some soul. Also, speaking of him, do y'all think the Backyardigans are black? Because, like, hear me out. Tyrone and Uniqua are black. They got black parents, and the way Tyrone be singing, he probably real close to his grandparents. Tasha is mixed. She has a black mom and a white dad. Austin is also mixed, but he got what Drake got. He has a black dad and a white mama. Very different. And Pablo is Hispanic. Obviously. But back to the video. I've been a fan of Leon Thomas for years, and I'm genuinely happy he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. The episode where he sang Song to You is a favorite. This was also the episode with Broken Glass.
Broken glass can cut your hand and then you'll bleed across the land.
We're not doing that!
Did y'all know he wrote this when he was 14? He considers it one of his favorite songs from the show.
That song I wrote when I was 14 years old in New Jersey with some friends of mine, and it turned into one of my favorite songs from Victorious.
The episode around the song was pretty good too. I enjoy seeing him work through the process. And Tori was a dope friend for giving him support when he was down. I don't know why she's doing all that bullshit singing backup, but I digress. And you know another thing? I hated how he always got Tori to sing with him and never anyone else. And yeah, I get the logistics to why. With Tori being the main character, she gets most of the songs. And the fact that the network didn't want Liz and Ariana to sing on the show in fear of them outshining Victoria. But hey, that's just a theory. A film. But from a character's perspective, I kinda get it. Hollywood arts isn't a school of just singers, but dancers, writers, actors, directors, gaffers, and of the main group, Andre and Tori are the only ones who are actively working towards being musicians, or at least are the most consistent. 365 is another banger and a solid episode. My nigga was obsessed with Jade, and though it was hella dramatic, they set the scene well. Also, did my nigga ride his bike in some draws? That's diabolical. I didn't get into all the shipping stuff in the show, but I could not see what y'all saw in Andre and Jade. Maybe it was like an opposites attract thing, I don't know. Same goes for Andre and Kat.
Easy now, don't start something you can't finish.
Andre's low-key a funny dude. He is at his best being the straight man reacting to all the bullshit.
If you hadn't made us late for class, we wouldn't be here.
I was choking on a pretzel.
Well, why you always gotta be choking on something?
Give him a break.
Yeah, it's not Robbie's fault he has a petite throat.
It's average.
Cap.
We see his work ethic early on, and honestly, I'd argue that he's the only one who takes his work seriously. Second to maybe Tori. I'ma keep it a buck. I don't rock with Tori. At least in the beginning. Over time, I got kinda soft on her. She can get carried away with helping her friends, and her passion can be a bit obnoxious. She stays in everybody's business, often making shit worse. Loki reminds me of Sunny in that regard. And like Sunny, she's also very driven, fully embraces the school, and dives deep into everything, having no experience in this world. You kinda gotta respect it. And finding out Victoria Justice wrote some of the songs in the show changed my view of her.
I wrote 3 songs that were on Victorious. Best Friend's Brother, Make It in America, a song called Faster Than Boys.
I went back to listen to the soundtrack. There were a lot of good songs in Victorious. I always liked the theme song. I feel like it encompasses the show very well. But Freak the Freak Out was a guilty pleasure. Give It Up with Jade and Kat was also really good. A song I think is still underrated is You're the Reason, and I mean the original one from the show, not the acoustic one. And again, shout out to my nigga Andre. He cranked this out in like, what, 3 minutes?
Let's see. You might be crazy, but have I told you lately that I love you and that you're the reason da 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 da. You good. Now don't start something you can't finish.
I also like the dynamic of Beck and Jade. I was glad they broke up because Jade can be incredibly unhinged. Also, I love how we were all in agreement that Jade ain't got shit on Sam. But nah, really, what can Jade do against the Butterside? Like, I remember when she pounced on that girl for messing with Carly. One of my favorite moments of Jade was when Kat shaved off her eyebrows and she was chasing her all over the school.
My eyebrows are gone! No, they're not! I told you they're right here!
Deadass one of the funniest things in the whole show. Though I was glad they broke up, the episodes that led to them getting back together were fine. It was nice to see a bit of growth from Jade if you don't count season 1. Yeah, season 1 Jade might as well be a completely different character. Same goes for Kat. Pre-lobotomized Kat could have been something. I personally didn't think her "what was that supposed to mean" shtick was funny, but who knows what she could have blossomed into besides just being dumb and red. I did enjoy her though. I thought she was funny and one of the few dumb characters Victorious that didn't bother me. I can tolerate a clueless ditz more than a destructive idiot. Something else about Kat, or rather Ariana specifically, her ability to sing while in character is dope as hell. I first noticed it while covering the Christmas special in my Christmas video, and I was reminded of it again this time around. In the episode where she and Tori sings LA Boys, and I think this is the only duet they have together, you hear her sing as well as she usually does, but notice the mannerisms. She still has the same quirks as Kat. She dances like her. She still has the same blank, vague expression that Kat always has, all while still bodying the song. Hell, even before the song, even before she starts singing, you can see her still vibing as Kat in the background. I know in the grand scheme of things, this is nothing new. I mean, she's an actress being an actress, you know what I mean? But I enjoy the extra effort. No one else really does this, or at least I haven't noticed them. They all kind of sing and move like their real selves. They had Kat doing some bullshit in the later seasons. Also, speaking of all that, y'all remember her brother?
My brother got shot by a clown.
Why?
Because my brother kept poking him and saying, "What you gonna do about it, clown? Huh?"
Okay, hear me out. My headcanon is that her brother was just Dan Schneider, and all the weird shit her brother was doing were all the things that Dan likes to do or has done before.
One time, my brother painted part of his body purple.
Why did your brother paint part of his body purple?
He had a job interview. He didn't get it. One time, my brother was in Vegas and he fell out of a 4th-story hotel window and landed on the roof of a shuttle bus.
And he was okay?
No. One time, my brother went to a home for troubled girls.
Why?
To meet troubled girls.
Is this?
Don't worry, they're not real feet.
But why did your brother have a bag of fake feet in the trunk of his car?
I'm not gonna lie, my brother's pretty weird.
I enjoy Matt Bennett more than his character Robbie, if that makes sense. I just never cared for these type of Schneider characters. I never liked the cotton swab girl, not Crazy Steve. I forgot his name. Same goes for Sinjin and the nigga with the fro who's always eating like bell peppers or some shit. I didn't really care for Rex, though he had a handful of funny moments. Y'all remember when he tried to kill Trina?
You shouldn't have cut Trina's gimbal.
Trina shouldn't have whacked me in the face.
Having said that, he's also my least favorite character. Homie can be hella annoying sometimes. Not everything he says is funny, but he always got something to say.
Nice fingering.
Thanks. I think it needs work.
Boy, fuck you. Dad today.
I think it needs work. Shut the fuck up. I hate this nigga. Also, while we're doing this, pair paths are aesthetically cool, and I like the parody aspect, but it still kind of pisses me off when I see them type on it and use it. It doesn't look functional. Like, this looks like a nightmare to use. I feel like it'll be so annoying to send a text message or watch a video. And then you have Trina.
Coming up, another Victorious. Now here's more Victorious on Nick.
Yeah.
Over the span of its 56 episode run on Nickelodeon, there has always been one character who was consistently overlooked. Not only by the characters on the show, but by the fans who watched it as well. So imagine my surprise when I hear we are getting a Victorious revival starring said character. And of course that character is Trina Vega, the forgotten student of Hollywood Arts. So the supposed spinoff of Victorious entitled Hollywood Arts stars Trina Vega coming back to school as a teacher this time around. Which is crazy because teach what? We talking about the same Trina Vega who got her tongue swollen on the day of the big showcase? The same Trina Vega who put on a one-woman show that was hated by students and critics alike? The same Trina Vega who literally only got accepted into the school that she now teaches at because an admittedly already mentally unstable man had taken a sip out of an expired coconut? I genuinely love that. I still have absolutely no idea what she's doing teaching, but if anybody can sneak themselves into positions they don't belong in, it's definitely Trina Vega.
I mentioned on Twitter when it was first announced that her character could work as a teacher. In the OG show, Trina is a loud, obnoxious, self-absorbed jerk with no talent, constantly being exposed, embarrassed, and ridiculed. Some of it was warranted, and I'm not trying to revise history here, but she did have some moments. She wrote, directed, and performed her own one-woman show.
The doctor says I ain't never gonna walk again. Not even on crutches.
Sorry.
She's a skilled martial artist, and she was a lead in that play with aliens or some shit.
How did she get her feet so white?
Well done, Funyi.
Why did she need to be barefoot for this? Also, she got the homies tacos that one episode. She ain't have to do that. She can't be all bad.
The whole idea behind a Victorious spinoff being about new kids attending the school is probably what they should have done in 2013 after it originally ended. The show is about talented kids of Hollywood arts after all. So in honor of the new show that releases sometime this year, I was gonna look through and compile every time Trina Vega has done something. Literally anything even remotely impressive. And I found nothing. But since I was unsuccessful in doing that, I figure we switch gears and talk about a little hypocrisy within the Victorious fandom. I mentioned a little earlier about just how incredible of a cast this show had, and everyone has their own reasoning behind their favorite character, but there's one character that seems to get a little bit more hate than the rest. If you're new to the online fandom for Victorious, then you wouldn't know that our main star, Tori Vega, is treated like she's some type of anime villain by the fans of the show. Clearly there are a lot of reasons for this. I'm sure Ghost could put together a whole video montage of her doing effed up stuff, and that video would probably be hours long. But the thing Tori gets the most hate for is actually something that we'd see a fan favorite character repeat later in the series. Yet one gets hate and one receives love? Let me explain. The situation that gets Tori the most heat actually occurs in Season 1, Episode 12, Kat's New Boyfriend. This episode's premise is pretty simple. Kat gets a new boyfriend, but oh no, Kat's new boyfriend just so happens to be Tori's ex Daniel.
Danny and I used to date.
Now, of course, that makes the situation hella awkward for both Tori and Kat, but in an attempt to be a good friend, Tori lets both of them know that she's cool with it and it isn't a problem. Except clearly it is, because she isn't even hiding the fact that she's riddled with jealousy, to the point where everyone around her can see it.
Daniel ever spin you like that? You want to get slapped with a sausage?
What the fuck is wrong with y'all? What the fuck is wrong with y'all?
This jealousy leads to its boiling point when Tori quite literally unplugs the melted cheese fountain and purposely squirts hot melted cheese over her supposed friend and cordial ex.
Tori!
Why did you do that?
I just...
Move, bitch!
And if that wasn't bad enough, she then proceeds to follow Kat into the school, apologizes, then makes out with her boyfriend seconds after apologizing. Brother, hell ain't hot enough, because why on earth would she do that? That started the beginning of fans starting to despise the character of Tori Vega. I mean, I see how effed up that was, but I'm not one of them. I still get enjoyment from her character, but that episode created a permanent divide within the fan base. People still make Tori Vega hate videos till this day, and it's been 13 years since the show has ended. But no one seems to talk about a very similar situation between Kat and Robbie. Actually, they justify said situation. In Season 4, Episode 7, 1000 Berry Balls, there is a school dance or formal or whatever. I mean, this school's always doing something. But with whatever school event they just happen to be doing this episode coming up, Robbie, who has always been known to have interest in Kat, spends the episode looking for her in hopes that he'd be able to ask her to the dancey thingy. Kat spends almost the entire episode ducking and dodging my man because she has no interest in going with him. Apparently, she thinks it would be weird to go with someone that she sees as a friend. But then seconds later, she calls the idea gross, so I don't really know, man. Pick a struggle.
Don't say gross, I like Robbie.
So, go to the dance with him.
No, gross.
You just said that
Look,
you like...
Robbie's one of my best friends. It'll be weird if I'm a date to a dance.
After being denied and avoided and eventually rejected for a week, Robbie meets a new girl and decides to take her to the dance. Which immediately upsets Kat, and she's doing anything to try and sabotage him and his date. Maybe not going as far as Tori did, but she's putting wieners in the punch, trying to make him jealous by dancing with Sinjin while heckling him. It literally takes her being knocked out to finally come to her senses. Literally. And realize the mistakes that she's made and how they could have all been avoided if she would have just went with him to begin with. Robbie comforts her after she gets knocked out, then they kiss, all while Robbie's date is still at the dance, by the way. But I can understand why what Tori did sparked outrage and what Kat did is considered to be cute. I just feel that since Kat was put in almost the exact same situation as Tori and did the exact same thing, we might need to be a little easier on Tori? I don't know. Kat's situation is definitely played to be more lighthearted, but I think they both show what can happen if you suppress your feelings. But it's that type of characterization that led to all of us to fall in love with the original series. The fact that the writers were willing to make make even their main characters flawed enough to be the bad guy, even if it's just for an episode. I felt like that's why people fell in love with shows like iCarly, Drake and Josh and Victorious. None of those shows felt like they were pandering to children. Instead, there was a conscious effort to entertain them instead. Which is why I believe so many of us can go back to these shows and hold them so close even all these years later. That's not something I can necessarily say for all these revivals of children's sitcoms. I finished the iCarly revival and thought it was fine. I was literally in Zoe 102 and thought that was good.
Hey, what the fuck?
What? You were in Zoe 102? You been to PCA, nigga?
But here's hoping Victorious is able to bring back some of the feeling of the show that came before. Or at the very least be entertaining enough to stand on its own.
My guess is that Trina is one of the few graduates who didn't cut it. And in her failure, she comes back to teach. Or maybe on some, instead of being fulfilled in Hollywood, she gets that same fulfillment here as a teacher. Kinda like Class of 3000 in a funny way. Like she could be the new Psychowitz or something, I don't know. Besides the music, one of my favorite things about the show was the big colorful cast. So they have some relatively big shoes to fill. And I don't know if this show's gonna bring the music, but that would be another relatively high bar. Now, I'm not saying that like, oh, if it's not like the old one, I'm gonna get mad. Like, I know what the show is, if that makes sense. I know this is another nostalgic cash grab, but that doesn't mean it is automatically gonna be a bad show. And though I'm not rooting for its downfall, I will not lose any sleep if this show gets canceled. Nah, if anything, I just want this to work out for Danielle. If this show gets canceled, hopefully it opens more doors. But if it works out, cool, she has a job. We've also got 5 new characters I know nothing about and can really only wait and see what they're gonna do. As a spin-off, they can reference the old show and they can bring back some continuity, but I'm not looking for another Victorious show. You know what I mean? Plus, this is on Netflix with no involvement of Dan Schneider. They can kind of do whatever the hell they want. I don't know, I'm going into this fairly optimistic with an expectation of a very low bar.
Believe it or not, I'm always rooting for the success of these series. And maybe, just maybe, if it is really good and successful, me and Ghost will collab yet again.
Oh, say less!
But let's be completely honest, even if it's a dumpster fire, at least one of us is going to be making a video on it. This is what I believe to be Nickelodeon's last chance at going to the well of live-action sitcom nostalgia. Victorious and maybe Big Time Rush were the last true sitcom hits, so if this doesn't work, I'm not really sure if there's going to be another revival series. We're getting on to a point in our lives where all of the actors from children's sitcoms and shows that we watched as kids are all completely, they're just getting too old to do this anymore. Shows like Drake and Josh and Kenan and Kel have all been aged out, so a revival on pretty much anything from that time is unlikely. So good or bad, I say we all just enjoy this show, for whatever it's gonna be. Appreciate the ride because not even Nickelodeon knows just how long it'll last. So whether it's a masterpiece or a disaster, we all at the very least get to spend time with these characters who once meant so much to us. And that was in itself is more than enough for me. But you don't have to take my word for it.